The last 24 hours have been a wild 24 hours. I got so many emails and messages and so many things that all feel right happening all of a sudden. So we're literally living out of suitcases for 3 weeks, which is fine. I have no complaints. And I get an email from Tony Robbins' CMO asking for connections to my network of talent. Crazy. Cool. Amazing. I also got an email from my publisher, and they are connecting me with one of my favorite authors of all time and asking him to endorse my book. Also really cool and really exciting. And then as I was about to log off for the night yesterday, I got a message from one of the people I've really looked up to into marketing, and he said, you're a rock star, and he sent a really kind message and encouraged me. 3 fantastic things happened yesterday. So many cool things, really exciting wins and potential. And we also opened up the doors to our agency. So many things are going really exciting. And simultaneously, life still happens. And I think sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. Like we think, if I could just fill in the blank, then I could be happy. If I could just have a successful business, I would be happy. If I could just get my book published, I would be happy. If I could just, and we fill in the blank with all these things. Now, I'm really grateful that I learned this pretty early on, because I remember standing on stage when our business crossed $1 million, and I was pregnant, 9 months pregnant. I had just spoken at the event, looked like everything was winning. And secretly, there was a lot that was crumbling. And I didn't talk about it because I felt so confused and vulnerable. And I thought I was supposed to have everything figured out. I have to laugh about that, because the idea that we are ever going to have everything figured out is almost the definition of insanity. At least for me, it is. The idea that we're going to be happy when success happens is probably one of the more misleading trains of thought. Now, I do want to add a caveat to that. Sometimes people say oh no, more money, more problems. Well, yes and no. I've been in seasons of my life where there was literally no money. I've been on welfare. I've been on food stamps. I've slept in one room with my daughter. Only one room, renting it for at least a year. Actually, I think it was 3 years pretty much that we rented one room. There are certain things that money does help with. Without having basic needs, safety, physiological needs, security, without those basic needs, it's very difficult. I'm not going to say impossible, but it's very difficult to be happy. So let's real fast recognize that there's an asterisk on what I'm sharing, because there is a certain amount of money that does make certain things in life easier, better, and happier. However, I remember learning that after about $70,000 or $80,000 per year, they say that making more money does not increase happiness. And it's really funny, because whenever I used to hear that, I would say, but I want a chance to try it. I want to try making millions and seeing if happiness comes, okay? The wild thing about success is we think that success, money, building a business, getting opportunities to speak on stages, getting the book published, that is actually going to solve the problems in our life. And what's so interesting is, now remember, this is talking about beyond that $70,000 to $80,000 per year, the amount that it takes to actually be able to sustain yourself. So not talking about that, okay? Been there. What's interesting is beyond that, there are so many different challenges that come up. And sometimes people say, if I could just make X, Y, and Z amount of money, I'd be happy. Well, yes and no. There are a lot of challenges that arise even in the midst of success, even in the midst of making money. They're actually different problems. They're different challenges is a good way to put it. They're different challenges. And sometimes they can feel bigger, scarier than the initial challenges that we experienced on the journey to growth. And what's really interesting is sometimes people will get to that place and they'll say, you know what, this isn't what I thought. I thought that this was going to solve everything. And so they'll kind of like back away because they're like, these are bigger challenges now. Yes, absolutely. Making more money, building your business, increasing your platform, all of the hallmarks of success actually bring about more challenges. It's like a video game. There's a new level, and then there's a new level, and then there's a new level, and it keeps happening over and over and over again. The challenges of paying your bills is one thing. The pressure of having an entire team with an entire set of families relying on you to pay their bills is a totally different story. Bigger pressure? Yes and no. It depends on how you look at it. But I really wanted to share this because it can be really easy on the journey of growth, the journey to success. We think it's like this singular destination, but guess what? It is a moving target. It never stops moving. And that's really important to know. But we think that there's this singular destination of success that is going to make all of our problems go away. And I heard someone say, I can't remember if it was, I want to say it was like Bob Proctor or John Maxwell, but there's this quote that really resonates deeply with me. Making more money only solves the problems that money can solve, which is fantastic. Everything from food to shelter to opportunities to resources. However, that only solves the problems that money can solve. So what we're left with is the problems that money can't solve. And in case you're wondering what kind of problems can money not solve? Well, there's a lot. Money cannot solve. Now I'm gonna be very, very intentional with this word here. I'm gonna say solve, not to be replaced by growth, healing, cope, manage, okay? Money can't solve a lack of happiness. Money can't solve being a terrible human. Money cannot solve, for many people, mental health issues. Money cannot solve marriage problems. Now, can it help? Can it support? Can it provide resources? Yes. But there comes a point, and I want to still be very intentional with my words here. There comes a point where you almost experience this crash of, I would just say, like disappointment, when you realize that money doesn't solve most of the things that we actually face each and every day. And I want to share this because so many people experience success and then experience this mega crash of disappointment when their expectations aren't met. They were hoping this would make me happy, this will make my marriage great, this will make my kids love me and want to talk to me. And the truth is, it doesn't. And it's one of the weirdest experiences ever. And please keep in mind, I have no complaints. There is nothing to complain about. I'm alive. We have food. My kids are awesome. Even if they aren't awesome, there's still reason to celebrate. Now, I share this because the reality of success can actually leave you with isolated core issues that suddenly you realize it's time to face it. For example, I can literally hire a whole team around me to overcompensate for or cover my own insecurities, but that does not actually get rid of my insecurities. Does that make sense? And in case you're like, wait a second, Rachel, there are insecurities with success. Yeah, we're still human. It's kind of like one of the hallmarks of being a human with a human experience. It doesn't just go away. Like, I thought money would solve my depression and anxiety. Guess what? It's still a guest passenger in my life at times. And if I know one thing to be true, your kids, beyond having their basic needs met, your kids don't really care how much money you make. It doesn't make you cooler to them. What is so interesting is you're still you. that is one of the major problems of success. I think sometimes we visualize that like we're going to become successful and suddenly we wake up with like a six-pack and fantastic hair down to our waist and the perfect outfits and stuff. And there are moments where I literally, it is so humbling to realize that I'm still me. I don't care if I made $1 billion. I'm still someone who crosses my legs at any restaurant I go to. I'm still someone who prefers active wear or inactive wear, to be more honest, than a blazer or a pantsuit or a beautiful dress. Like, I love being comfortable in my clothes, and I have comfy dresses. There's nothing like being able to cross your legs and get all snuggly. And it can be a beautiful thing, but it also can be very like sobering to realize I don't have any excuses anymore for not being the person that I want to be. And it's also simultaneously kind of a beautiful process to strip away the first levels of the needs, having safety, security, physiological needs met. But then you are left with your own blocks, your own insecurities, your own fears, your own doubts. And not enough people talk about this because everyone positions it as like, here's my secret system, and as soon as you implement it, your life is going to be rainbows and daisies and sunshine, and your farts are going to smell like Chanel perfume. But that's not reality. And it's interesting because for the first time in my life, I realized that I could actually go back to making $40,000, $50,000 a year and actually be very, very happy with my progress and with who I am. And I know a lot of people, they don't experience that. They don't do work on the problems that money can't solve. The other day, I was settling in my kitchen, and I noticed there were a bunch of dirty dishes in the sink. And one of the amazing privileges that I've had is being able to give full-time employment to fantastic people, including my in-laws. And so I do a lot less laundry and dishes these days. And it was Sunday night, sitting in this apartment, realizing like life is in boxes and suitcases. Our entire lives are in boxes and suitcases minus family. And there's so many people who make it seem like it is bad or wrong or inefficient or whatever to do your own dishes or do your own laundry or straighten up the living room or those tasks that remind us that we're human. But I sat and just washed the dishes, and I was thinking about how with or without success, you are who you are. Money doesn't solve everything, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm really grateful that money doesn't solve everything. Some of the best, most intense growth I've ever experienced have actually come from facing who I am beyond the problems and challenges that money solves. And somewhere there's some guru who's going to say, what an idiot, why would she wash her own dishes when she can hire someone else to do that? And I understand that. However, I'm still me. Does that make sense? You're still you. That's all we ever get. And realizing I am not too good or too big or too fancy or too successful to wash the dishes. I think about that saying. I think it comes from Bruce Lee, but it also may come from ancient, I want to say either Buddhist or Taoist wisdom. Someone will send me the right thing, or I'll look it up after this. They say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. And I want to say the same thing for success. Before success, be the best person you can. Leave every situation, every room better than you found it. Be kind to people. Success. Before Success after, same thing. Be the best person you can. Leave every room, space, relationship better than you found it. Be a good person. Help others. Before and after success, that's kind of all we're left with. And there's this reminder, like some of us almost feel or act as though we're invincible. And there's this beautiful reminder that we are not invincible. Nothing is promised. I could literally lose everything financially tomorrow, but you're still you, and you still have work to do that money will not replace. It's a beautiful thing. Success is both humbling and terrifying. It is also exciting and full of opportunity. But just a reminder that success doesn't replace personal growth and development.